there's a power of taking control of your perspective. If it's the one thing that we have control over, it's our perspective. A lot of things that happen in our lives are happening for us, not necessarily to us. But if our perspective is on, oh, it's happening to us, then that typically takes us down a rabbit hole of not enjoying this experience of life that we're supposed to on our journey. A lot of times we're looking at it as a destination, and if something happens to us, we think that that's the end all be all. But if we took control of our perspective and say, you know what is this trying to teach me, or this is happening for me rather than to me, you begin to see it as a milestone on the journey versus a destination. Right? A lot of us think that our situation is the final thing, which is why we'll put permanent solutions to temporary problems. But really, if again, we just took control of the one thing that we have ultimate power over, which is our perspective on how we see things, we'll be a lot further. Because what I realized as I was just kind of sitting out and enjoying myself was I'm actually present. And by being present, that's propelling me forward, because I have the decision to determine, hey, if I'm enjoying this experience, wow, I like that perspective. Or I like this experience, so I want it to keep happening. So by being present, I'm able to say, oh my goodness, this is what's going on. I like this. I want more of this. I've taken control over my perspective. And if it's an unpleasant experience, I'm looking at it as, okay, well, what is this trying to teach me? What is it that I need to learn from this to grow? Because then if I can apply that, then I can get back to the pieces of life that I really enjoy, or I can continue with the pieces of life that I really, really thoroughly enjoy. And it's like I had to overall pivot my perspective on problems and look at it as, hey, I should be asking questions. If I'm not enjoying this experience, I should be asking questions. And once I ask those questions, if I'm being asked to move, if I'm being asked to change, or if I'm being asked to let go of something, that I do it the first go around. This way, I'm not having to relive issues over and over and over again, because then that's what has us in a rut, is because we continue to experience the same things over and over again, because we're declaring that we don't like it. We're giving so much negative energy to what we don't like that we're being pushed down paths that we continuously don't like, versus by being present on your journey, you're able to see the progress. You're able to see the growth. You're able to shift your perspective to focus only on those things. Yes, contrast will happen. Yes, negative experiences may come into our existence, but that isn't the only thing that matters. That's just a speed bump. That's just something that we're meant to learn from to help someone else. When we take ourselves out of the equation, and again, stop victimizing our own situations, then we're able to say, you know what? Who am I? Again, asking the right questions. Who am I going to help later on based on this situation that's happening around me right now? And I think that right there was the game changer for me, is being present. Being present and taking power over my perspective. I think those were the two game changers for me, because once I changed my perspective over any problem or any situation that I had going on, I began to be present. And I say, well, what is this making me feel? Right? You can't be scared to face yourself. You can't be scared to ask yourself them hard questions. You can't be afraid to, or you can be afraid to do these things, but do it anyway. Do it anyway. Because the faster that you look at yourself in the mirror and you get over those feelings, you realize, oh, dang, it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad to face myself. It actually was more difficult to hold on to it. And it made me think of this experiment that someone did, and it was with a glass of water. The first time I seen it, they had pineapple juice, and I was excited. But the first time that I, seen it, she was talking about how, to hold this glass of water or this pineapple juice up, it has no effect on your arm, right? You just held it up. right? But the longer you hold it up, the heavier it begins to be. The more strain it begins to have on your arm, the more strain that it begins to have on your body. Then now your arm's burning. But this thing that weighed probably 2 pounds, that when you first lifted it up, it didn't have any issues. But the more that you held on to it, the worse that the pain felt. That's what happens in our life. The quicker we can put things down, we'll feel such a relief. But it's that, that opening fear, which I get it because I was there too. But once you cross over to that other side, that's when the old you dies. The one who would just put up with anything, that's when they die. That's when the things you used to accept, the places that you used to go, the things that you used to be into, those things aren't as appealing to you anymore because that part of you is gone, because now you're operating in a space of love. If God is love, then you should be operating from that space. And I think that was the game changer. That's been a huge game changer for me. And I hope it's a game changer for you as well, because this is a journey. This is not a race. This is a journey. And you'll experience different things at different levels. It doesn't mean that contrast goes away. Your perspective of the contrast changes. And you have more control over your mind. You have control over your body. You have more control over your spirit when you let go, when you be present. Because the more present you are, the more that you can write your future forward. Because when you're present, you're able to say, oh, nope, I don't want to experience this anymore. So what do I have to do not to experience this anymore? Or, oh, man, I really enjoy this. How can I experience more of this? And that's what will begin to show up more in your existence, in your future. You're writing your future today. So by being present, you make the decision on where your life is going. No one else can make that decision for you. The only way they can make that decision for you is if you're giving them your power. Call your power back today. Follow the butterflies.